Are you looking for a free and easy way to build a pop-up that gets delayed by a few seconds when someone visits your website? Pop-ups are one of the best ways to grab your visitors' attention, and it can help improve conversion rates. In this video, I'm going to show you an easy way to build your own pop-up with delay, and you don't need to install or purchase any plugins. You won't even need to write code, as I'll give it to you and show you where to copy and paste it. Hey ladies and gents, and welcome to this new video. I know it's been a while. It's I think nearly 4 months since I released my last video. I need to apologize and just let you know that I've just been very busy with projects, so that's why I haven't released a video in such a long time. So I just want to welcome you to this video and just thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means a lot to me and I do appreciate it. I've created this video because I actually got an email from one of my subscribers. I think she's a subscriber. Her name is Cecily. I hope I'm pronouncing that right if you're watching this. And she asked me if it's possible to build a delayed pop-up in Divi. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. You won't need to write any code or anything like that. I'm going to give you the code that you just need to copy and paste. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I've already created a page and I've set up this Divi template just as some placeholder for now. And the first thing we want to do is we want to create a new section. And you can put this really anywhere you want to. I'm going to scroll right to the bottom of the page and I'm going to add my new section there. I'm just going to hover over here, click on this blue button to add a new section. We just need a regular section, so let's select that. And I'm not going to insert my rows yet, I'm just going to close that and just work on the section for now. Let's go into the section settings. And all we want to do, we want to come to the advanced tab, and then under CSS ID and classes, we can click on that and we want to add a CSS class. Now, in the description, you'll find a link to this code pen. Just click on it and open it in a new tab. It has all the code we're going to use. And what you want to do between these two, there's an opening style tag here and a closing style tag here. Just above the closing style tag, not the first set of code, but the second here, you want to copy this dg-popup-section. Don't copy the dot, just the dg-popup-section. Let's right click, copy that. Let's go back to our builder, and under CSS class, let's right click and paste that class. Let's save that section, and now let's select our rows. Let's click the green button to add a new row, and we want a 3-column row. So let's select that option. Now, I'm not going to add the modules yet, so I'm going to close that, and let's just work on our row first. Let's go into our row settings. The first thing I want to do is add a background color to this row. So I'm going to come down here to background, click on that, and I'm going to click on this button to add a background color. Now I'm just going to copy my color from my other screen here, and I'm just going to paste it in here and save that. So you'll see it's like this beige or light brown color. So I've got the colors from this template that I'm using from Divi. The next thing we want to do, let's go to the design tab and let's select the sizing option. Where it says use custom gutter width, we want to select yes, and we want to bring the slider right down to the left so the gutter is set at 1. So that means there's going to be no spacing between our columns. The next thing we want to do is where it says equalize column heights, let's change this from no to yes. And then let's scroll down to spacing and click on that. And for the padding, we want to set everything to 0. So I'm going to click on the chain link, or chain icon I should say, and set that to 0, and we'll also set the bottom to 0 and do the same here. Click on that chain icon and set that to 0. Then let's go back to content, still in the row settings, and we need to set column width for our 3 columns. So let's go into the first column and let's click on the advanced tab and let's click on custom CSS, and we're going to paste this code under this main element section. So again, if we go to the code pen and we scroll down here a bit, so you want to come to under the closing style tag, you want to come to the section where the comment says column 1, settings, advanced tab, custom CSS, main element. And all you want to do is copy the code underneath us. You don't have to copy the comment, which is a gray text, just the actual code, which is width 100%, and it's got the important as well. So let's copy that. Let's come back to the front end, and under the main element, let's paste this in there. So you'll see something happen to the columns now. It's made the first column wider than the other columns. Next thing we want to do, let's scroll down a bit and let's come to the position setting here, and we want to change the position to absolute. We then want to put the column on the very right, well, I should say the very top right. So let's select that option. And then we also want to give it a Z index of 9, just so that we make sure it sits above everything. And what's going to happen with this column, let me just go to the one I built. Our close icon here is going to sit in this column. So this column is actually spanning 100% of the row. And that's what our first column is going to hold, is our close icon. Let's click this back button. Let's go to column 2 and click on the settings. Then let's click on the advanced tab and click on custom CSS again. Let's go back to the code pen. And yeah, you'll see it says column 2 and column 3 settings. So this code is going to go in column 2 and column 3 under the advanced tab and under custom CSS in the main element. So let's copy just the code that says width 50% important. Let's go back to the builder, and under main element, let's just click in there and paste that code. And then we can click back and go to the third column, go to the advanced tab, go to the custom CSS, and under main element, we can right click and just paste our code in there as well. Let's now save that, and we can save the row settings. Right, so the first thing we want to do, we want to work in the first column here. Let's add a module, and let's search for the icon module. And then let's select that. And in the search bar here, I'm just going to search for close, because this is where our close icon comes from. And I use this very first one. You can choose whichever one you want. I'm just going to use the first one. And you'll see it puts it over there. And then I'm just going to add a background color. You might not have to do this. Just when I was testing this out and I was working on tablet and smaller screens, the icon gets lost in the image that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put a background color. Like I said, you might not need to do this, but yeah, I found I needed to do it. So I'm just going to copy my color from my other screen here and then just add a background color and paste it in here. Now it's the same color as our row, so you won't see it really on desktop screens because it's going to be the same color as the row color. Just on the tablet and the phone, the picture goes to the top, or the image goes to the top, and my icon gets lost in the image. So that's why I'm just setting a background color. Again, you'll just need to check with whatever image you're using if you need to add a background color if the icon gets lost in the image. Let's go to the design tab. Let's click on icon. And I'm going to change the color of the icon. I'm going to click on there. I'm going to copy the color from my other screen here. And then just paste it in there. And you'll see it's this dark brown color, which is the same color as that. And I'm going to set the icon size to 30 pixels to make it a bit smaller. Then let's go to the advanced tab. And let's come to CSS ID and classes and click on that. And let's go to the code pen. And let's again go between our opening style and our closing style tag. And you'll see at just above the closing style tag, there's this class called dg-close-popup. And you want to copy just that part. You don't want to copy from span.et-pp-icon, and you don't want to copy the dot, just the text there. So let's copy that. Let's go back to the front end builder, and under CSS class, let's right click and paste that class in there. Then what we want to do, when we want to come down to position, and for this position, again, we want to change this to absolute. And you'll see it's moved right to the left here. We want it in the right-hand corner, so let's select the right-hand corner. Again, something's not right here. I'm going to have to look at why this should have pushed down, and the first column should be taking up the whole width. We'll look at that now. Let's just finish our icon module here. Again, for the Z index, let's set that to 9 so we make sure it sits above everything. And let's save this now, and let's just go back into this row settings. I want to come back to this first column, to advanced, to custom CSS. And I see I do have the width as 100% important. Did I not change these other widths? That's 50%. And that's 50%. Guys, I'm just going to quickly troubleshoot this. So I'm going to just quickly fast forward through this, but I'll explain to you where the problem is once I find what it is. So I found what the problem is. It seems like I've put the icon in my second column and not my first column. You'll see this is my first column here and it's empty. This is my second column and you'll see the icon is sitting in the second column. So I'm just going to come back to my page builder and just take this. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to work in the wireframe because I think because I've set everything absolute in that. Yeah, so you'll see that my icon's sitting in this second column. So I'm going to move it to the first column like that. And then let's go to the front end. Scroll down. Now it's working properly. So I put the icon in the wrong column. Just make sure you put the icon in the first column. So yeah, just make sure of that. So you'll see now it is sitting at the very right of our row. Then what I want to do, I just want to go into the icon settings because I just want to, you'll see it's squished right against the side. I want to try just move it slightly away from the top and slightly away from the right. So I'm just going to go into the wireframe because I can't get to it that way. I'm going to click on the icon settings. Then we can go back to the front end now that I'm in it. And you can see what it's actually doing. Then let's go to the design tab and let's come to spacing. And for the margin top, I'm going to put 1M and you'll see it'll push it down a bit. And then for the margin right, I'm also going to put 1M and you'll see it'll push it away from the right a bit. So it's not right against the corner. So that's it for the icon. We can save that. And now this should be the second column. I hope I'm in the right column. Let's add a module there. And in the second column, we're going to add the image module. So let's type in image and let's select the image module. So yeah, you'll put in your image. I'm just going to use an image from this layout I've downloaded. And the image I'm going to use is this one over here. So I'm going to select the image and click the button to upload an image. And you'll see there's the image inside there. And the only thing I'm really going to do to the image, I'm going to come to the design tab. I'm going to come to the sizing option and I'm just going to select yes for where it says force full width. So just in case it's on other size screens that it will take up the whole column. I don't want it to have gaps in that. So once we've done that, we can save that. That's the image part done. Then in the last column, which is our third column, let's add a module there. So we'll click the gray button and we're going to add a text module first. And I'm just going to copy some text that I've got on my other screen here. And then I'm going to paste it in here. So for my heading, I'm just going to make this a heading 3. And guys, the styling in that is up to you. I'm just doing my own stylings. You can use whatever styling you want. And then the other text I'm going to leave as paragraph text. So I'm just going to hover over my heading. I'm going to click on this blue edit button. And then all I'm really going to do here is center the heading. And I'm going to hover over the paragraph text and click that edit button. And over here, all I want to do is change the text size to 16 pixels. And also under text alignment, I want to center that. Now you'll notice that the text sits right up against the column edges. So what we're going to do, we're going to come to sizing. And for width, I'm going to make it 90%. Again, you can play around with this number if you think it's still too close to the edges. You can bring it down to 80 or whatever the case is, but I'm just going to use 90%. So you'll see that it's moved away and it's not sitting exactly in the center now, but we're going to use some code a bit later to center our second column or the modules that we are going to use. We're going to use some what's called flexbox to center and align everything. Then the last thing I want to do for the text, because I'm going to put another module under here, I just want to give it some spacing at the bottom here. So I'm going to come down to spacing and just under margin and bottom, I'm just going to give it 20 pixels. Again, once you put your other modules in there, you can see, look at the spacing and adjust it accordingly. So that's all we're going to do for the text. We can save that. And then I'm going to add one more module. And I'm going to add the contact form. Now, yeah, just need to spell that right. So let me just select that. So I'm using the contact form, but you can use, if you're using an autoresponder service, you can get the script from them and use a code module and paste the script in there. Otherwise, I know Divi also has the email opt-in that you can integrate with your autoresponder. So you can use the email opt-in as well. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to use a contact form because I'm not going to be integrating anything. That's just beyond the scope of this tutorial. The main objective of this tutorial is to show you how to design the pop-up and how to get the pop-up working. So for the contact form, I'm going to delete the message because I don't need that. And then I'm going to come into the first field, which is name, and click on those settings. I'm going to come to the design tab. I'm going to select layout and I'm going to make it full width so that it goes right across the second column. And I'm going to do the same to the email field. As you can see, the email field only sits up to there and it looks a bit funny. So I'm going to click this back button. I'm going to go into the email settings under the design tab, click on layout and make full width. I'm going to select as yes. I'm going to click the back button and then I'm just going to come down here and under spam protection, I'm just going to remove it because it looks a bit ugly. And then we can go to the design tab. And then I'm going to click on the fields option. And I just want to give the fields background color a color of white so you can see it a bit better. And then let's just style the button a little bit. So I'm going to scroll down a bit here till I get to button. I'm going to click on that. And for use custom styles for button, I'm going to select yes. The text color, I'm going to make white. And the background color, I'm going to make black. So you'll see my button over here. Then we can scroll down a bit. And then I think for the button font style, I'm going to make it all uppercase. And for show button icon, I'm going to select no. So our button doesn't have that icon when you hover over it. Then again, it's sitting right on the edge of the columns. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click on sizing. And I'm also going to make the width 90%. Again, don't worry that it's sitting all the way to the left here. We are going to use Flexbox to align everything properly. Then the last thing I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a border around these fields just so they just pop a bit more. So I'm going to come over to border, click on that. And where it says inputs border width, I'm going to just make it 1 pixel. And you'll see there's a border now around the fields. Right, then that's it. Then we can save that. And so our pop-up is coming on a bit. Let's align these two modules in our second column so that they sit in the center very nicely. So they sit in the center vertically as well as horizontally. Now to do that, we're going to come over to the code pen again. And we're going to scroll down. And you'll see there's a comment here that says column 3 settings. So that's saying we must go to column 3. And we need to paste this code in under the advanced tab, custom CSS and main element. Now you already have some code there because I don't know if you remember, but we set the width to 50%. So let's just copy everything from display flex up to justify content center. Let's copy that. Let's go back to the builder and we need to go into the row settings. And we need to go into the third column, go to the advanced tab and then click on custom CSS. And then I'm actually going to put width at bottom and paste my code above the width. Now you'll see it's centered everything very nicely. So I think that's looking good at the moment. And then we can save that. So now we need to go back to the section settings. And you'll see the section at the moment has this white background color. Now, if you look at the one I've already built here, let me just close the, no, that's the one I'm currently working on. Where's it? Here's the one I built. You'll see that I've actually got a black color with opacity set at 50%. So you can still see your home page or whichever page you're going to put this on. You can still see the content behind the pop-up. Now you can set yours to a color without transparency so you can't see the content behind the pop-up. It's totally up to you. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to background. I'm going to set it to black. So you'll see now the white's changed to black. And I'm just going to click in there I'm going to drag this opacity slider to 50% opacity. Next thing we need to do, we need to come to the design tab. We need to come to sizing. And for height, we need to set this to 100%. Let's go to the advanced tab. And let's come to position. And under position, let's set this to fixed. So you'll now see that all our content sitting on top of our pop-up, but we'll fix that now. And you'll also notice that our header hides a bit of our pop-up, but we'll fix this all now. So to stop the content from sitting above our pop-up, let's come to Z index and let's put in 9. And you'll see now our pop-up is sitting above all the contents of our home page. Then, as I said, our header covers a bit of our pop-up. So to fix that, let's go to the design tab. Let's come to spacing. And for padding top, and now I've tested this out, you might have to test yours out depending on the size of your heading. I set it to 120 pixels and you'll see it'll move it down a bit. And this works for tablets and mobiles in my particular case. Like I said, just if you still see that it's stuck behind your header, because your header might be much higher than mine or a bit higher than mine, just keep making the padding a bit more to move the section a bit down. Or not the section, the row a bit down. So with the section still sitting behind the header, but the padding is moving our row down. So I hope that makes sense. So that's basically it done. We can save that, and we now need to add another row, and I can't do it because this is fixed. So what I'm going to do, go to the wireframe mode, scroll down here, and I'm just going to click this green button to add a new row. We just need a 1-column row, and we just want the code module. And this is where we're going to paste our code now. So let's go back to the front end so you can see what's happening. Then let's go to the code pen, and let's grab all the code. So we're going to grab this from the style. Now I'm wondering, I don't think we should do that yet. I think just to show you what's happening, I'm going to go like code by code. And so let's do this first. Let's come back to the front end, and in our code module, so let's open a style tag, and it will automatically create this closing style tag. And I'm just going to push enter and enter again so I have some space in between it. And I just want to save this, and I'm going to open it on the front end here. I just want to show you what's going on here. So I just want to make this a bit smaller. Okay. So I want to put this on a tablet device. So let me just put on tablet here. And what you'll see here is it's a bit squashed. Like it's too narrow for me. So you want these to actually stack. So you want your image on top and then your content and your form below the image. So the reason it's doing this is because if you remember, we set our one column, which was our second column that holds the image to 50%, and the column that holds the content to 50%. So it's keeping it at 50% on all devices. So we need to change that. So let's go back to the builder. I'm not going to use this for now. Let's just close that, and let's go back into our row settings. And let's go to the second column. Let's click on the advanced tab, and let's come to custom CSS. And let's copy this code. And let's click on the phone icon and set this to tablet. And let's paste our code in there, but instead of 50%, we're going to make it 100%. That's for the second column. Let's go click back, and let's go to the, I don't know why it's done that. Let's just go back into the row settings. Let's go to the third column, to the advanced tab, to custom CSS. And you want to copy all this code because you need to use a flex box again in the tablet. So let's click on the phone icon. Let's click on tablet. Let's paste that code in there, and let's just set this width to 100% as well. And let's save that. Let's go to the front end, and I'm going to refresh. Now you'll see our code works. So our image is on top and our content is at the bottom. The problem is this image is huge in height. So we're going to use some code now to change the height of the image. So let's go to our code pen. Let's scroll to the top here. And you want to copy from where it says at media all the way down to the curly brace here that closes that media query. Let's right click and copy that. Let's go back to the front end. We can save this now. And again, we're going to go in the wireframe mode, and I want to get to the code module. So let's click on those settings. And what we can do between the style tags, just paste that code there. I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to walk through the code with you, but on the front end to show you what it's doing. So let me refresh this page. Sorry, it's not going to work, because what we need to do, we need to take this class that says dg-popup-image. Copy that. Don't copy the image tag. You just want the class. And again, don't copy the dot. You just want to copy dg-popup-image or img. Come there and let's go into that image settings. Let's go to advanced. Let's click on CSS ID and classes. And under class, let's paste that class. And then let's click save. And then let's go to the front end. Hopefully it will work now. I'm going to refresh. There we go. So now our pop-up is showing a bit better. It's not going off screen. And we can see everything. Now, I'm just going to come to this image and I'm going to show you what all that code is doing that we pasted in there. So you'll see, I'm going to just move this up a bit. Here is our code here. So we've set the height to 350 pixels. And that's why our image height is has less height on it, because we've now set the actual height to 350 pixels. So the image is only sitting at a height of 350 pixels. I've then set the aspect ratio to 16:9. And if I undo all this, you'll see what happens is the image looks very distorted. So to avoid that happening, we set the aspect ratio to 16:9. We then put the object fit to cover. And if your image doesn't look good, you can play around with these settings. So for instance, I've got my object position to bottom here. You'll see it moves the image up, but you can change this to top. So I'm going to delete this and go through it. So there's bottom, and you can watch the image. I will tell you what the declaration is. There's center, inherit, okay, does nothing. Initial does nothing. Left does nothing. Revert does nothing. Right does nothing. But yeah, you'll use top. You'll see top takes the bread totally out. So I'm using bottom, so because the bread's the main image, I think. And again, the object fit you can also change. I would leave it as cover, but you can change that if you want to. So that's what that code is doing. It's just making the image less in height and making it not distort. Now you'll notice that our texture and our button here is right against the edges. So let's go fix that up. Let's go back to the front end builder, and let's go into the row settings, and it is the third row we want to go into. So let's click in there. Let's come to design, and under spacing, I'm just going to set padding on top and bottom, and I'm just going to make it 2M. You don't have to worry about top, and you don't have to worry about changing it to tablet, because we've set it as flex on desktop. It will still center and align perfectly. So don't worry about changing it. We just want to set the padding there. Let's save that. Let's go back to the front end and let's see if it's taken effect. So now you see we have some spacing between the image and the bottom of the row. And if I go off of tablet mode, you'll see it's still centered fine in desktop mode. All right, so let's now have a look at the phone. Now you'll see we sit with the problem again where some of our content is off screen, and if we scroll, because it's fixed, the actual pop-up doesn't scroll, just the content or the home page behind us scrolls. So to fix that, we have two options, and you probably could have done this with the tablet as well, but I thought the image looked very funny on tablet, it being so long, so that's why I decided to change the height. But if you're happy with the height of the image now, what you can do, if you go back to the builder and you come into the section settings, click on the Advanced tab, and click on Visibility. For vertical overflow, you can set this to scroll. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to come back to the front end and refresh the page. Now you'll see if I hover over it and I scroll, you'll see it moves down, and that's because we've now set the overflow to scroll. So that is one option you can use. If you like that option, you're more than welcome to use that option. I'm going to show you a second option. So I'm going to set this back to default. I'm going to save this just to show you in the front end that now that I've set it back to default, we won't be able to scroll. So if I try scroll, you see only the home page scrolls, not the actual pop-up. So the other option is to reduce the size of this image once more, or the height of the image. So I've got some code here, and it just sits underneath the code we just did. And this is for media screens at 767 pixels, which is the phone size on Divi. And you'll see I've just set the height to 200 pixels. So I'm going to copy that code, come back to the builder, go into the code module, and then just under the first set of code, just paste that code. We can save that. I'm going to come to the front end and refresh. And now you'll see we can see our entire pop-up. So you guys must just decide how you want it. If you want the image to be less in height, or if you want to use that scroll effect. And guys, you'll see there now that my background color of my close icon has come in. And as I said, it got lost in the image because of the color of the image. So that's why I put that background icon in. That background color in. So now that everything's looking good on phone, we'll check the tablet again. It's looking good on tablet, and then on desktop, it's all looking good. So now we need to hide the pop-up, and after, in my case, it's going to be 5 seconds. Once the page is loaded, give it 5 seconds, this pop-up will show up, and they can either fill in their information here and submit the information, or click this button and close the pop-up. Now the problem is nothing's working. So what we need to do, we need to add a bit more code. So let's copy the rest of the code in the style tags. So it's from DG pop-up section to this DG close-up pop-up. Let's copy that. Let's go back to the front end, and in the style tags here, you can paste this below the media queries or above them. It's up to you. I'm just going to paste it below. I'm going to paste that in. And what I want to do, I'm just going to change this to block quickly, and I'll show you now why I'm doing that. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back to the front end and refresh. And you'll see our pop-up's still there. And the reason it's still there is because I've changed the display of this section, which I don't know if you remember, we called it DG-pop-up section, to block. But it was set to display as none. As you see in the code here, it's set to display none. So I just want to leave it as block because I just want to show you something else. You'll see now if we hover over the close icon, we get the hand, or what they call the pointer. It doesn't stay as the arrow. It changes to the pointer. And this is what this code is doing here, where we're targeting that class and we're targeting the icon. We're telling it when you hover over it, the cursor must be the pointer, which is the hand that pops up. So that's what that's doing. So I'm going to change this back to none and save that. And let's refresh on the front end. And the pop-up is now gone. But the thing is, it's not going to show up at all because we need to use now JavaScript to target that pop-up and to show it. So on the right-hand side, there's this JavaScript. Copy the entire thing from the opening script to the closing script. Right-click and copy that. Come back to the builder. And under the style tag, you can just push enter a couple of times and paste the JavaScript there. So I'll quickly run through it with you. So the first line of JavaScript here, we are creating a variable called delay pop-up section, and we are querying our DG pop-up section. That's the class we gave our section, if you remember. What we're telling it to do is we need to set a timeout of 5,000 milliseconds, and that would be 5 seconds. So if you want it to appear quicker, you'll change that to a lesser number. Maybe if you wanted like 2 seconds, you'll change that to 2,000, 1 second, 1,000. If you want it more, you're obviously just going to set the number higher. So that's what that's doing. So after 5,000 milliseconds, what happens is the style must change to display block. So that means at the moment, it's got a style set as display none. After 5 seconds, we want it to display block. Then again, we're creating another variable called Popup section. Again, we're targeting our section itself with the class of DG Popup section. And then we are making another variable called Close button, and we are targeting our class of DG Close Popup and the icon. And then what we've got here, we've created an event listener. So when a user clicks on the close button or the close icon, we want to set the pop-up section to the style of display none, so that it will then change the pop-up to none and it will disappear. So let's save this. I'm going to go back to the front end and I'm going to close this now. We don't need that. I'm going to refresh the page and give it 5 seconds. And there our pop-up now shows. And then if they can either fill in their details here, click submit, or if they click the close icon, the pop-up disappears. So guys, that is how you create a pop-up and delay it for a certain time so that it only shows to users after a set amount of time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed the video, please can I ask you to hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please can I ask you to subscribe as well. Then if you are looking to build something in Divi like Cicely asked me to, please feel free to send me an email or even drop a comment in the comment section, and I will put it in my to-do list so that I can build it out for you. Then if you would like to work with me, or maybe you need some special functionality on your website, please check the description for my website and my contact details. If you do go to my website, you can book a free call on the website. And then if you are interested in other tutorials on how to build something in Divi, or maybe you're looking for some website builds that I've done, there should be a few playlists popping up around about now that you can click on. And guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Have a good one.